Hey there, this is stream 253, and I'm going to check to see if I have quality options, and so I need to fix my stream title. Okay, got the options. Forgot to update the stream title, so let me do that really quick. Today we're going to be tracking player consent to terms of service and privacy policy, because not yesterday, the day before we did deployment. Updating. Yeah, so I forgot to change the title before I started, so now I'm going to have to go back and change it in the VOD. Oh well. That's my punishment, I guess. How's everybody doing? How are you doing? Nui and A squared? Let's see. I said hi. A squared, but not to Nui. Fix that. PP, yeah. PP. Privacy policy. Although my son would really get a kick out of that. You streamed about PP? Yeah, so I did this on Monday where we deployed the latest code, and so a couple new features. If you haven't seen it, hold on a second. Let me do a incognito window, which means I'm gonna have to get my password manager out because incognito doesn't remember me. Hold on. All right, so some new features. You can log in with Twitch now. So let me do this off screen because it will end up showing a token really quick, and I don't want it to do that. And hold on. Just a second. I can't type today. So yeah, now you get this thing. It says you want to authorize it. I'm gonna go ahead and hit authorize. I noticed that I can't really show that on stream because it flashes a JSON web token on the screen. But anyway, you can now log in with Twitch. You don't need to actually have a password in my game if you don't want to. In fact, you can go down here and click on clear password if you want and not have to manage a password, as long as you have your account linked to Twitch. And another new feature we have is this light and shadow system. So you can see we can't see through the wall, but you can see around the wall, and also these trees from certain angles block line of sight. Not all angles, because not all angles fall exactly on squares. Hey there, multiple pixels. How are you doing? Super secret incognito, that's right. I use an incognito window because my main Chrome is logged in as the game master. Here. Starter town, right? So the GM can see through walls and stuff, but a normal player can't. And then we also have dark zones. So down here, these are lit by the torches, but as you get further in, it's no longer lit, except for I have a torch up there for testing. Oh, there's a slime in my way. Die. Okay. But yeah, the dungeon is now dark, except for where there are torches. There are some bugs, though. You can see I had to adjust the torches so they're no longer on the wall, but like in a little alcove. And that's because there's a bug with when lights are directly on top of barriers. Get out of my way, slime. Oh, I almost died there. There's this bug too where you can't see through a wall even if there's a portal that's open in it. So that's a bug. But it's deployed. Oh, I died. Just respawned at a safe point. Back in town. I'm doing well. Thank you very much, Multiple Pixels. I'm glad you're doing well too. Found another bug. Great. I found a bug as well, and let me hold on. Let me take this off screen for a second, and because I want to show all player names, I just want to show one in particular. So there's a bug in the GM's view of points. I know for a fact Nui doesn't have 0 points. Nui has more like 97 points, but they're not in the right record in the game for this window. So it works in the chatbot though. So if I do this, I can see Nui has 97 points. But in my little panel, it doesn't show it. So that's a bug. So I put all these bugs in my GitHub, and you're welcome to as well. There's a link there. No, Nui hasn't lost their points. It's just not being shown correctly in my window. All right, so I deployed this stuff, and the feature I was working on next after deploying that was I put together the terms of service for the game, and you can just go ToS .html. There's the terms of service. So I put this together along with the privacy policy, the PP, without a second dot. There we go. And the intent is to, when we do it with the local version of the game. When we create a new account, you have to basically set, this is the standard click-through thing. If you don't say that, you can't sign up. So you have to say, well, yeah, sure, I've read it and accepted. And it's just a standard thing. So we want to track accounts that are already in the game. When people log in, they need to click this before they can continue. Also, I'd like it to track what version they've accepted and said that they read, so that if I update the terms of service and someone logs in again, it should pop this back up saying the terms of service have changed. Please check out the changes. Maybe we can make a nice little difference thing for people who don't want to reread the entire damn thing again. But at least we need to get, reacquire consent and give people the opportunity. If they don't like the changes, they can say, oh, thank you, I'll play something else, that kind of thing. It means that you win. What kind of bug did you find? Discontinuity in what you see. Interesting. There are other bugs. How do I show this? I guess I can go into the game where there are orcs and then have it it's when you move while there's a particle effect going on. It might be hard to show this unless someone else is down here fighting. Let's go down here and risk being killed. I'll have my character get wailed on, and I'll just go down here and just observe. Oh, it hit me. You can do it. Am I already dead? I'm already dead. Shoot. I can't die that quickly. Come on, kill me. See that? It's maybe hard to see, but the particle effect when you get struck doesn't move on the screen. It should move with the background, and it doesn't. So that might someone noticed that on Monday as well. So or Tuesday. I'm losing track of the days. It's Thursday today, right? Yeah. So Tuesday, someone noticed that. I'm like, yeah, I know about that. I put that into the bug tracking system as well. So yeah, I want to bang out this legal stuff because it's been on the list for like forever, and I want to do the right thing and lay out the policies so that people don't agree, then they don't they can choose not to play and that kind of thing. So if there's any kind of disagreement later, I can say, well, these were the terms, and you click that you agree, and just like every other site would do. Okay, so I already did this, right? I did that on Tuesday. So let me actually remove it from the plan as we do that. I need to add code to track what version everyone has seen, and then pop up a new dialog box when you log in and it's been updated since you last read them. I suppose we should do the same thing if you happen to be playing and it changes. And maybe instead of forcing a dialog box, we would show, I don't know, show a toast or something saying there have been some policy updates to the game. You might want to read them. Maybe we just wait until the next time people log in. That's probably the best, right? Oh, so you saw a problem with the lighting. It looks strange. The lighting might be a little strange. For example, this tree casts that shadow, and then you move right, it casts a diagonal shadow. If you move right again, it doesn't look like there's a shadow because I couldn't think of a way to make it look right. There technically would be, the way I did it, since it's either completely on or completely off, you can actually see part of every tile, even where you think there might be a shadow, because the shadow is falling between tiles. So here, the shadow is completely covering this diagonal region, and here it's completely covering the vertical. But over here, it's sort of at a what is that, a 30-degree angle, and so it doesn't block completely any tile. So that would change if we implemented the idea someone had on Tuesday, which was instead of doing pure black or white, so to speak, that we would have gray, and the gray would sort of cover any tile that was partially covered or completely covered. And so we would, even for a 30-degree angle, we would start to shade the tiles that are affected at the 30-degree angle, something like that. I think what you're seeing is technically right, just strange. So this is what I would call strange, is where the shadow pops in and out, right? Something like that. And there are probably other things that happen because from that, right? Also, like when you step, what was it? When you're away from the wall, you can see around, completely around. But if you step closer to the wall, it becomes diagonal. That's because of the rules I haven't set for diagonals. So if you're closer in the x-axis than you are from the y-axis, it will do a diagonal shadow. But if you're closer along the y-axis than from the x, it's a horizontal. So that could be another thing that's kind of weird. So like right here, I said step closer to the wall here, boom, it goes diagonal. And then you can kind of look around. That kind of made sense to me as far as like, as you're nearing a wall, you can now see around it, sort of. And now you can see completely the whole wall. But I can see how this would, as you walk diagonally, it would look kind of weird, right? It's like the shadows popping in and out. Come to you in the sewers. Okay, let's find a squared. Should I do it with my normal character? Okay, there's a squared. Oh, that effect where you can't see that wall because it's shadowed by that wall. The top left. Oh, that's because of this torch illuminating that wall. So that's your hint that this wall is lit beyond your normal range of vision. Strange that it's not connected. You can think of it as like this is darker, but this is lit by something, and you can't see what is lit by until you step around the corner and say, oh, there's a torch there. It's lighting this area. The same thing with this is lit by this torch up here. So when you step away, there's now a gap here because you can't. These torches don't reach that far. Yeah, it looks right. It looks wrong because I think because of the hard either on or off decision. If we use like a gray thing, then this would just look more lit, and you would still be able to see this, but it would be darker because there's still a torch, so then maybe you would see this a little bit darker. Yeah, grayness would work better. So technically, this is how the old games were, and what I remembered from them. So it's also the easiest, so that's what I went with first. But we can always try out the grayness idea. Actually, the goal of mine from the start has been to have every world in the game slightly different. So we could very well have a world where it's like this, but then you step into another world and all of a sudden the lighting system is different, and you have different levels of light, like, you know, gray instead of black and white. So we can do something fun like that. Yeah. Uh-oh. Those are dangerous enemies. I don't want to go over there. I want to go back to town. Retro lighting world, yeah. I would also like to dabble a little bit in 3D at some point. So you might be going from one world to the next, and all of a sudden it's isometric. What's that called? Isometric view of a 3D world. So why not, right? You would just have to add a little bit, an extra dimension, an extra coordinate to everything, and some of the game logic would change. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too hard to do. It would just be asking for help with art, probably, to do more of the 3D models and stuff. All right. There was something I missed here. Oh, I think it was that GM players view. Do I want to make another panel? I need to have a panel for the maybe I do it here. Server versions, and then I can have policy versions, maybe. Okay, we'll do that. GM versions panel. So add policy version controls. to GM versions panel. And then if I really, not if I really, I also really want to add policy version agreed to the players panel. So I can see what players have actually agreed to the terms of service and what versions of them. Hey there, you got sponged. How are you doing? Maybe in GM options add a way to enable lighting view. Oh, yeah, so that, yeah. There was an idea someone had a while back where instead of having these separate views of, let's show this on the same screen. Of like, here's a normal player view and here's the GM view of the same thing. If I can align it up. Pretty close, right? That that the GM would actually not have a camera until I pick a player, and then I would be like following that player, and then be able to also control whether or not the lighting system is on or off. And then I wouldn't have to have two clients. I could just log in with the GM client and then just follow and actually not only follow, but start controlling a player. So in other words, like, what's the word? me and words don't always get along. Possess. You could possess a player and you basically take control of them and move them around and then see what they see. So I might do, I'll probably do something like that at some point. Right now it's sort of a burden, but also there's some advantage with a separate GM camera. I can look at the world without actually being tied to any player. So I can go off in here into the void and not worry about any game rules that might affect me if I'm actually there. Stuff like that. Yeah, like a god mode, or more like a demon mode where I've possessed a character and I'm moving them around. The ability to be detached and not relying on players. Yeah, so it's both are useful in different contexts. So I'll probably keep this GM camera view, but also have a mode where I either follow, like spectate a player, or even just directly control a player. Yeah, going through walls and stuff would be convenient. Yeah, definitely. All right. What else did I need to do here? So this panel will let me bump up the version number, which will cause any subsequent logins to get this dialog box saying you ought to read them because they changed. And then if they click and agree and log in, then it bumps the version number up. I guess we need to add that in here, right? Oh, do I? We can have a login and be an agreement, and then the front end just require that they check the checkbox. Oh, wait a minute. No, this would be a separate step, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think we have to have a separate step. Oh, that makes it a bit more complicated, doesn't it? Unless, well, let me think about this. Unless, like, the login kicks you back out and says, well, no, I don't want to kick players back out. I want them to be logged in, but then have the front end say, well, before you can play the game, you gotta agree. Hey there, Romania Hate. It's going okay. Hi. You do implement GM player controlling, you'd also add a world plus position teleporter for convenience and unstucking people. Yeah. So right now what I can do is I can go to this, click that entity and move them around, right? And now I'm imprisoned. Ah, let me out of this prison. And then I can do that already. But you're right. It would be nice if I'm controlling a player that I can just say, hey, I just want to, just like I do with the GM camera, I just want to go there. Or I want to go back over here. Same way I do with the GM camera. Probably that's what I'll do. If the GM is controlling a character and I actually click, it would just teleport. This is my current world teleporter. And it's kind of clunky because, well, I have these go things. So go to the sewers, but it only changes the zone ID, and then like you either have to manually type in or have to like click around several times. It's not the best. I still need to do some work on that. Probably have some a list of destination points I can transport to, and just click on them, like teleport to where the slimes are, teleport to the where the whale is, that kind of thing. Yes. So this one, I guess we can just start with that. Add code to track what version each player has seen. I guess what we'll do is well, actually, when would it increment? That's tied into this. So actually, that's another step here. It's not just a new dialogue. A new login status? And dialogue? And like, until, well, message, client message to server when, if and when client agrees or consents, gives consent. And I guess until consent is given, we would do what? Not actually log them in? So we'll keep them in limbo? So, and a lot of messages I have, we need to adjust them then. Don't allow most client messages until, I guess we could just say until players oh shoot, but what if I change it when someone's logged in? I guess I'll just have a flag. Agreed to latest policy version flag. I guess we're adding this. Yeah. Add agreed to latest policy flag to player record. Or no, to client record. And then add latest policy. I'll just add a policy version number to player record. So this is if they're not logged in. We can see if they've consented to the latest version. And then once they log in, we can see, have they agreed to the latest one? If they haven't, then we show them the dialogue, and we don't let them to do any other messages until they agree. And then the client message, when they agree, would just set that flag and bump that number up. RIP default zone, or it's not listed. Should be in there. Oh, it's this button here. It's not listed because it doesn't have an entity. This default zone predates zone entities, so it's sort of special and an exception in the code, and I'd actually like to deprecate it and remove it. And then all zones would require an entity, because I'm starting to do things with these entities, like the sewers, like 12942, right? 12942 has the ambient light setting in it, light 2. So because the default zone doesn't have an entity, I can't assign a light level or any kind of zone specific parameters. I can't attach them to the default zone because there is no such entity. You're hiding the default zone? Yeah, well, there are two things I need to do. So there is a special logged out zone, which was a design mistake that I made, where everyone sits when they're not logged in. This is a problem for two reasons. One is that I don't know where anyone is. And number two is when they do log in, they'll be teleported back to where they were, and where they were might either not exist anymore, or it might be out in the middle of the water, which is what was happening out here. There used to be some land out here where I was stored weapons, and some people were standing out here, and then they logged out, and then I made it all water, and they log in and they're like, I'm stuck in the water, save me. Either, how do you say your name? Cineras? Hi. I probably butchered your name. I apologize. But yeah, so players are getting stranded out here because they were logged out when there was land and now there isn't land, and they log in and they're back. So getting rid of that logged out zone and then showing where players would reappear when they log in for the GM camera would help me, where if I'm removing a zone or removing part of the land or reshaping it, I can see, oh, someone's logged out and they're standing on top of where I want to put the fountain. Let me move them. I'll probably also, if I do get rid of like the default zone, I would just mass export everyone. Probably put them in this between realms area right here. So they would just be teleported to right here. So the next time they log in, they're in the place between worlds, and they want to go through this door, which ends up putting them out here somewhere. Yeah, the logged out zone is, I know it looks amazing because there's just so many people who made accounts in the game. But it's silly. I shouldn't have done it this way. Yeah, there's a lot of people in that zone, isn't there? Am I creating a game? Yes. Thank you for linking that, A squared. And hey there, Rasubaka. Yeah, so this game, I still haven't done it yet, but I want to make an intro video for it. I don't yet have it. I'm being subscribed to. Thank you, Rasubaka, for your 3 months. I appreciate the support. Yeah, I want to record. Oh, thank you for that follow too. I want to record a video where it's sort of an introduction to what this is, but really, really quickly. This is a multiplayer game. It's online now, so you can log in and play it. And here's my character in the actual production world. And looks like it's a lonely area. There's no one else playing right now. But you can create an account, or you can log in with Twitch and get into this. Oh, there's A squared. Hey there, A squared. Hey, it's a wizard party. Hi there. The game is split between two big pieces. One is the front end, which is in your web browser. So when you go to the site, it loads a bunch of JavaScript and HTML, and we're using WebGL for the graphics and React for the document structure and Redux for the state management. So all JavaScript libraries. And the other big pieces are running on the server in the cloud. We're using Amazon Web Services right now. And that's written in C++ with some Lua scripts for a lot of the game logic that I want to change on the fly. And between the servers and the client is WebSockets. It's all secure over transport layer security. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. I also use Python for some of the back-end tooling, so that's why I like to say I made this game with 4 different languages. And if you have questions about C++, Lua, Python, or JavaScript, I might be able to answer them, or more likely someone in chat would know more specifically if it's not C++, because that's sort of my background. C++. I'm one of those old guys. Hey there. Spell, how are you doing? All right. So that's the game, and the latest edition that I'm working on is making sure that people have at least checked the box that says that they agree to the terms of service, and we'll provide them the links like we are already doing here, so that you can click them and then see, oh, there's the terms of service. Well, that's not where it is, but in the production, it would open the link to the terms of service. I'll have to type it manually, ToS HTML. So it should open that. I didn't care about making this pretty. It's all in blinding white. Sorry about that. It's just legal stuff. And so right now we require that you click it before you can sign up. The button doesn't work. So you could say, okay, sure, I'll click it. Now I sign up. And the same thing if you logged in with Twitch, it would show this and, if you hadn't created an account yet. But what I don't have yet is, let's go back. And I'll just log in with username and password. I can't type today. Chickens. Remember me, please. Right now on login, it doesn't say, hey, you haven't agreed to the terms of service yet. Please read them and check here when if you consent. So I'm going to add that today. Where am I streaming from? West Coast, US. So for me right now, it's 10:27 a.m. And where are you from? You made a web server that allows you to code websites in C++, so you want to use that? Like using WebAssembly? Or something else? People have like, oh, Sweden. Hello. from around the world. Yeah, so people have suggested to me I look into WebAssembly, but I already had an excuse for using JavaScript, which is that I want to put it on my resume anyway. So I just went with that. But I wouldn't mind when I have more spare time, maybe when this game is done years from now. I'll probably look into it. So this is a testing area I had for testing the casting of light and shadow. I had just random mountains with random light sources, and I use this as a test arena, so I can go in here, for example, and take this light and just move it around, and you can see the light moving around the barrier. So we got all that code working like last week. If you're wondering what the heck I'm showing you. But yeah, I want to work on we'll leave it here because what I want to see is when I log in, I want it to show, hey, you haven't agreed to the terms of service yet. Please do that. Oh, just a C++ web server written for Linux? Oh, so it takes your code and compiles it and runs it, so kind of like a code sandbox? Is that what you mean? That sounds pretty cool. How would that work? It would compile and run on the fly? Huh. Please style the login inputs. It takes like 5 seconds and would look okay. How would you like me to style the login inputs? You probably want it to, use... Like make the box bigger, just like the buttons are bigger or something like that. Give it a bit of padding. Okay. The problem with styling is that I can't get everyone to agree. So, this is the closest we could get for like dividing up the two ways you would log in. That we start with like a blatant choice. Here are the two ways right now you can log in. And if you click this, I need more info, so you type it in, and then we compromise by having this remember me in two places, because you might now be focused on this area and miss that this button is down here, or you might think that that button applies only to Twitch. So I didn't mind duplicating that. But yeah, you just think I need a little bit of padding? I mean, we can do that. We can do that right now. Where is the style for this? Source. I guess I can just put it in index. The problem with styling the input would be what? It would balloon it out a little bit. Or okay, what kind of padding do you mean? Do you mean inside the box, or do you mean between the box and the label? On the input. Give it like 4 pixels of padding, like inside the box. Inside the box. Okay, we can do that. It can be done, right? I already had some style for text. Here we go. So, input. Do I have another input one? I do. So I can just put it in here, right? Padding 4 pixels. And there we go. There's your 4 pixels of padding. I do kind of like that. And I wonder why that isn't the default. Maybe because it does balloon things out a little bit. Maybe like a margin bottom of 5 pixels. Ooh, pretty. Like, let's see what that would look like. Margin bottom 5 pixels. Okay. I mean, not opposed to that. So you would want me to just do text inputs. But I don't think I use many more kinds of inputs anyway. Let's see. Where would I use an input box? Oh, like right here. So it's pushing those out a little bit. It actually forced a little bit of overflow for me. Good thing the overflow works. Scratch that border. Oh, don't do anything with the border. Yeah, this is the default kind of like 3D-ish border. I don't know. You can tell that one of my weak points is style. My style sheet is a mess, and yeah, this is my horrible attempt to make style stuff. Checkboxes and buttons are also inputs. But I don't think, well, did it apply a margin to those? Let me see. What if I comment that out? See, it didn't adjust that, but it might be because the style for these is overridden by something else. Oh, wait a minute. No, for these, they're buttons. They are not inputs. That's why. Sure, you can post a screenshot. That's fine. Checkboxes are also inputs. So where do I have other checkboxes? Yeah, so like, I think it's okay. Would it be in here somewhere? New issue? I think it's okay. I think we'll keep the padding suggestion. We'll give you a point. How about that? And another one to spell. There you go. You got some points. Use Firefox or any modern browser. You can right-click and inspect element. Yeah, well, I usually just hit F12. Zhunk. And then do that. It's a button. Yeah, pretty sure I used button, not input, because it's not in a form. All right, what are we looking at? Here we're looking at this. Only it's really teeny tiny. Okay, balloon it up. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, I like a rounded border. Let's see if I can do that. This would be a test of me. I really only want it on inputs, right? And, well, not just text, but also password. I just, second screenshot? Yeah, but let's see if I can, let's see how much of it I can figure out. It would be border, I'm guessing you did 1 pixel. So, 1 pixel solid white. And then, border radius, I don't know, maybe 5 pixels. Let's see how close I get. How close did I get? Log out, log in. I didn't do it at all. Okay, screwed up. Oh, because I'm looking at the production site, that's why. Looking at the wrong one. There we go. That's pretty close to that, right? I got pretty close. Let's see what you have exactly. One pixel solid. You did it. I did white, but you did that, and you did 6 instead of 5. I got pretty close, didn't I? 1 point for me. Yeah. I like the rounded. You can tell I like the rounded because that's what I did with the buttons. I think we'll keep that. Yeah. Let's keep it. Chickens. And make sure I didn't screw any other boxes up. Yeah, I like it. Let's just go with that. Also on the main screen. Wanted to log in a new account. Did I miss one? You mean, where exactly do you mean? Oh, you gave, this some margin? How exactly did I do that one? It's not, I guess I can do class link. No, yeah. It really goes with the div, doesn't it? Stuck to the buttons. Yeah, you're right. I guess we'll give a class for that. And that one is in views, dialogues. No, not a dialogue. Activities, sitting outside activity. Actually, I need to update this too, because this is different now. There is a game. Things aren't really broken. It's just that the game is incomplete. And this is flat out wrong. Okay, let's just delete that clause now. That's... Okay, let's just update this. Please be aware the game is still a work in progress. And I really want to wrap it there, just for my own sanity. It's still a work in progress. With most of the game content not yet written. With most of the game content not yet written, many features missing, and many things, and some things likely broken. Most will be added or fixed on stream. There we go. Why TDD? Where did I write TDD? Does it not waste time? Are you talking about the text that I already removed? If only working on this project. I don't understand, I'm sorry. Let's add a margin for this guy, right? Class name. Oh, test-driven development. I used to think test-driven development was a waste of time, but one of my best friends is a very strong proponent of it, and I've been trying for years to be as efficient and productive as he is at it, and so I'm just still trying to do it, to get to the goal of where, sure, there's some extra time you invest in the front, but then you gain it back out by having fewer bugs, and you have a nice suite of regression testing in the end. So I'm trying to give it a chance. I don't want to just make the judgment that it's a waste of time until I've at least tried it. You know, if it turns out that it's not valuable in the long run, I just drop the TDD and I'll just, continue. But yeah, I'm really trying to give it a chance, keeping an open mind and all of that. What to name this class? It should be something general about that it's following some buttons, or maybe I just put the margin on the button bar. That might make actually more sense, right? Because I have a button bar class, probably in here. I should just, shouldn't I just give that a bottom margin of, I don't know, 0.5 or something? Yeah. Actually, let's give it some more margin. Yeah, there we go. And I actually don't know why I put it here. It really belongs there, where it is now anyway. Why did I put it here? I guess for convenience. Yeah, I guess that's just what I did. What are we talking about? Oh, need to learn how to write tests? Yeah. Well, sometimes you just need to get the motivation, right? Oh, and by the way, we're hello and wowee. Rami, how are you doing today? Oh, and adopted mouse, you were saying 10 pixels? Did I? I went with 1M, but I don't know. No one's ever told me what's better, M's or pixels. It's roughly the same. I kind of prefer 1M. My understanding is the M would scale with the font size, and then pixels would not. But so I kind of wanted to scale with the font size. If I picked a bigger font, I'd want it to be more margin. But I don't know. M's are better, but it's harder to specify. Yeah. Wondering how to have a file with multiple language strings that have variables, inject them. Oh, in general, I think what you do is you have a system, a string lookup system. Like Android has it built in. So instead of just outputting strings directly like I'm doing here, you would have it look up a replacement variable that's pulled from a string table lookup. And the string table lookup thing would just know what the language it should provide. And then, so this would be something like string table string key intro text or something instead of this. And then the English entry for that key in the string table would be this. And then you take that string tables database and put it into like, I've seen people just put into an Excel spreadsheet and just email it to your Russian translator or whatever, and then they would fill in the column for Russian, and then you'd re-import it into your string table. Something like that. That's what I'd probably do. Thank you for that follow, by the way. Like to use JSON code for your more advanced language strings? Yeah, so it's some kind of replacement technique, whether it's built into the framework you're already using or you have to make a system to do it. I don't think it really matters. Provide simple advanced JSON structures to describe strings to find how to prioritize them. Interesting. I didn't say hi to 715-209. No, I didn't. 715-209 has a distinct honor of being having an account in the game where there is a glitch in how the points are being tracked. See, he actually has 2 point counters. One's at 0 and the other one's at like 15. And I found it this morning and I'm like, ooh, there's a bug. So I put it into my bug tracking system. You won't be able to see it, but I will. Hold on. It says 16 points, but really he's got one entry that says 16 and the other one that says 0. So yeah, that's in my bug list now. That was points and link to crowns not properly migrated. I noticed that 715-209 have points and Twitch ID stored in the play record and also has the old fields. Migration should just remove those. So yeah, thank you 715-209. You have inadvertently helped me find a bug. I should give you a point for that. And I'm going to do it right now. Just to test that. Yeah, so it's not broken. Your points are not lost or anything. There's a 0 point counter that's what do you call it? Vestigial? You have a vestigial point counter of 0 lying around in the database that I need to get rid of. All right. I think are we done tweaking the style for now? And get back to my original work. So this is some style tweaking that we did. And this is separate. I'll check that in a second. So this is, what are we going to call it? Style improvements to, what are we going to call this? Form entries, elements, and button bar. So give form entry elements a nice rounded padded border. Well, nice rounded border and some padding and margin. Give button bars a bottom margin so that any elements below them don't appear to stick to the buttons. There we go. Commit. Divide his points. How would you log into Twitch and attach your existing account? The way to do it would be you log into your existing account and use the built-in linked with Twitch feature. Because if you logged in through Twitch, the game won't know that you already had an account. You see how that works? Otherwise, you could hijack someone else's account. So you have to first prove that you own the in-game account, and then say, by the way, I also own this Twitch account. Please link them. Yeah, we can't trust that you're the one that owns both accounts until you prove it. I could have a mechanism where you can say, hey, I do have an account in game, and you can enter the password there. But I mean, I could do that. I guess it would just be more work. Think I should do that? So let me at least put it in the notebook to consider. So consider a feature where you first have an account, then try to log in with Twitch, and you get an option to provide an existing account username password to link to the Twitch login. Currently, the only way to do this is log in with username password first, then use the chat bot to link Twitch Twitch ID to the game account. That's the only way to do it right now. It says 0 points in game. Aha! So that's probably the same bug. So let me add that to here. Also, players report that the game tells them they have 0 points. So you can just do the points command to see how many points you actually have right now. So the chat bot has the correct counter. So if I do points a squared, oh, you do have 0 points. Did you have points before and you lost them? Oh, it's not actually linking your old Twitch ID and points record. Correct. So you probably, yeah. You probably have 9 points attached to your non... How would that work then? Did you link and then unlink? I don't want you to have to lose. Let me just say players also report that the game might be telling them. Actually, let's just say this. Tell them they have 0 points when they should have more. And actually, should I attach it to this? No, it's going to be a specific thing for a squared. Let me follow up after the stream. So I can just grab these two messages. Check a squared 31415's account to see if points got lost. If so, I'll give you some kind of compensation in the form of more points. Yeah, the thing is, I screwed up in the migration of the points, and this bug will track that. So if I follow up, I'll follow up later. If there's something wrong with the account that's not just the same thing that 715209 has, then I'll have to enter it here, and we'll have to fix that too. Sorry about that. Okay, we're gonna check this change in as update outside game message. Let me read it and make sure it looks good. From the game's now live, you can create an account, log in here. Please be aware the game is still working. Maybe I should make that bolded or something. Let me combine this text with the paragraph before. And let's just say it is a multiplayer game. The platform for the game is live, and you can create an account and log in here. Please be aware. Let's see how that looks. Let's make that not a comment. Please be aware that the game is still a work in progress, so most of the game content not yet written, many features missing. Let me fix this up a little bit. And have a unordered list. List item. Most of the game content is not yet written. Many features are missing. Many game features are missing. Now let's add one here. There's not yet. Oh, actually, that was the first bullet. Okay. Some things are likely broken. In fact, let me put a link in here. You can report bugs. Either, let's make this indented, either in-game or by, or via href. I get the link. GitHub. And then I can remove this. Can I do that or is that bad HTML? I don't actually know. I mean, it looks okay, except that there's no space there. Is that because I need to do that? Yeah. But when you press authorize, it overwrote the existing Twitch record with this new link. It shouldn't have done that. It should have created a new... No, it won't create anything unless you created a new account, a new player account. In that case, you have maybe 2 player accounts, one that has your old points and one that's new. I can check on that really quick. Maybe you actually have 2 player accounts that are spelled slightly different. You know you didn't? Okay, well, just in case, let me check. You're probably right. Well, you have an alt account, but it also has 0 points. Your original account was created over a month and a half ago. Yeah, I don't know. Have to look at it later. Hey, they're testing. How are you doing? Your alt is just a testing thing, no attached, right? Exactly. Okay. Update out. Okay, F5 this. Actually, it's... Does anyone happen to know, is this kosher or whatever the phrase is this something you can do in a paragraph? Or do I need to, like, break this up into 2 paragraphs, like this? And then put this list here. Actually, I can just search. If no one happens to know, I can just search for the answer. It would be HTML UL inside P. You can't put a list. You can, but don't. Let's see what people say. Not legally allowed. Okay. And how old is that? Answered 8 years ago, so maybe it's updated now? Okay, so let's just not do it. People say it's like not bad style, then I can live with that. You can just do this. Right? Cool. Please be aware that the game is still a work in progress. Most of the game... let's make that a colon to imply that this is linked to that paragraph. Most of the game content is not yet written. Many game features missing. Some things are likely broken. You can report bugs either in-game or via GitHub, and that should link to there. And let me make it do a target blank rel, all that junk here, so that it opens it up in a new tab. There we go. Most of the above will be added or fixed on stream. Cool. All right, let's check that in. Update outside game message. I think I'll just leave it at that. I don't need to sign it. All right. Now the heavy work. We're going to add some fields to different records. The player record is serialized, so it has its own unit tests. The client record doesn't. But I'll need to use that flag in other things which do have tests, which are these two. Don't allow most client messages until this flag is set. Set that flag when they send us this new message, which we don't have yet. And it doesn't need to be replicated across the cluster because it's only local, right? So that means it only needs to go in the client record, and I don't need to have a game command for it. I do need a game command for this version number, though. Unless I bundle it with the profile change stuff, which I probably could. Could just do that. All right. First things first. So that's a terrible phrase, by the way, because it implies that there is a first thing. I will say the first thing I want to do right now is go to the unit tests for the players. Players? Yeah, and then add a test for tracking the version number. So something like this. Set policy consent version. Let's just make it generic for get and set. Yeah, so we'll do this players is a class which is sort of standing in for a real database. I think later when I have a real database, this will just be a table or a database. And these methods will become just different columns of that table or different tables in the database. So there would be a policy consent version would probably just be a column, and we would just be updating that column here. Set it to 42, and then expect that when we get it back, we'll see it in policy consent version. There we go. What does clear password do? It sounds like it should be highlighted as red and dangerous. You make a good point about it being red and dangerous. I think right now, if you do click it, it does warn you. So that means it probably should have it red, shouldn't I? Let me check that. Let me do this off screen. I can log in myself. Okay, here we go. And then clear password. Yeah, so it does have a warning. So maybe I should have it red. Well, yeah, point for finding that out. That ought to be red, right? What does it do is it will prevent you from logging into the game without Twitch. If you don't want someone to have access using a password, if you want to make sure your account is only accessible by your Twitch credentials, then you would clear your password. But the side effect is that means that without a password, the only way you can authenticate yourself is through Twitch. So once you do that, this unlink becomes gray because it'll say, well, you can't, if you unlink from Twitch and you don't have a password, you won't be able to get back into your account. So can I demonstrate that here? I think I can. Clear. Oh, I need to have my password to do that. Okay, let me not show that right now. But yeah, just take my word for it that if you did clear your password, then this becomes gray and it won't let you unlink until you set a password again. Random, yeah, we don't want random orphaned accounts. Definitely. Yeah, okay. Set policy consent version 42. So this will be the getter and setter, but since this thing is also serialized, I need to update this huge test that tests this serialization. There's two of them, right? Serialize and deserialize. And yeah. How do I want to do this? Looks like I started this test by having it look at the record, and then after that I said, oh, I'll just put in the strings. Why did I do it that way? I don't even remember why. I don't remember why I did it that way. This is player, which player is this? Player 1? No, 42? Wait a second. Oh, that 42 is a different 42. Is this because I have the common setup? Oh yeah, there we go. So the common setup set that stuff. Yeah, let me fix that really quick. This should just say player 1 dot Twitch ID. And similarly, this should say player 1 dot Twitch login. Player 1 dot Twitch name. And this should be player 1 dot points. I need to do the second thing, similar thing here, or just leave those empty. I think I just want to leave those empty right now. You did confirm Twitch ID 42 doesn't exist, right? I don't remember. I don't remember if I did or not. I mean, I guess if someone wants to look up, there might be someone with the ID 42. Okay, what's not building here? Oh, the test I haven't finished yet. Let's leave that out. I want to fix this other test first. Basically, I want to make sure that I didn't break it by doing that. So when that builds, then I'm going to run Test Explorer and just run the test. This sketch, if you want to put the content in a box and center it, let's take a look. If I like it, I do it and give you points. So let me compare that with that. How does that? What do you guys think? Whoops! Don't maximize it. Oh, instead of new account, have register. And okay, overall you're saying instead of the old school way of just having it be the content of the page, you would like me to have the main page centered and with a nice little box around it. Maybe. I don't know. I really wasn't that picky. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. I'm really inexperienced at styling, and so I really didn't think about doing that. I'll give you a point for that. And let me take the link, and I'm not sure how long images last, but let me just in case it's lost, let me grab a screenshot of it. Zoop. And paste. And that's way too big. Let's scale it down. There we go. Thank you, Adopted Mouse. Let me consider that for later. But I'm trying to keep a balance between the work I had planned and the feedback I get. So I hope it's okay with you if I kind of postpone working on that. But I do like that idea. I give you a point for that. Yeah. Put this back. I don't need that. And hold on. I had an extra window floating around. Here it goes. Okay. Submitted a get issue with the Imager link. Would that be better? I don't know. How long do images last in Imager now? I mean, I just don't know. Since I don't know, I don't want to presume or assume that they will last. So I keep my own snapshot if I'm not sure. All right, this build. Let's open up Test Explorer. It's gonna see what tests I have. It should say, "Oh, that's a test. You can run it." That's exactly what I want to do. Yes. Okay, so I didn't break it. And I ought to do the same thing here, right? Let me just copy paste this and change the 1 to a 2. And this did that, so yeah, okay. Is this a JSON array? That's a set. That's why I didn't reference it here, because it does convert the set to a JSON array. All right. Okay, so we're going to add to this now. Let me uncomment this. And then go back up here. We're going to add some fields. Player 2 dot. Hold on. Policy consent version is 3, right? And then I want that to show up in the serialization for both of these guys. Okay, so that field doesn't exist, so let's add it. So let's go to where points are. I can really add it anywhere I want. It doesn't really matter where I add it. Let's put it at the bottom. And the version numbers are always going to be signed serial numbers. I kind of like size T for that, but that's just my personal preference. And let's make 0 mean that they haven't contented anything yet. Imager keeps images forever as long as they're receiving at least 1 view every 6 months. It's that 1 view every 6 months that might be a problem, right? I suppose if I fix the bug within 6 months, it's okay. I don't know. I'm always going to worry about, oh, what if take 6.5 months to get to a bug and no one's looked at the image and now it's gone forever. Why did you decide to go C++ on the server side? It's mostly because of my experience. I was just comfortable with it. If I was starting from scratch, I probably wouldn't use C++. Probably use, I don't know, a lot of people tell me I should use Rust or C# or something like that. But yeah, it's just habit. If non-zero, the player has consented to the game's terms of service and privacy policy, and this indicates the policy version that was in effect when the player provided their consent, or last provided. Okay, and then this requires that I have a setter, so let's add that. Let's put it near this set Twitch info declaration. Not peak, go to. Yeah, right here. And it's going to be modeled the same way. And again, this is pretty much a temporary class, because if I go to a database, if this class still exists, it's really just going to be a front or a facade to the database. Okay, set the policy version, set the version number of the game's policies that the player has agreed to which set the version number of the game's policies to which the player has agreed or consented. I don't know if that's proper English. That's good enough. Add cursor pointer to the buttons. Don't I already have that? Isn't that the default? Where would that be a problem? Pointer is just the arrow, right? Or maybe it's not for my browser and it's other browsers have the problem if I don't set cursor pointer. Let me give you a point for that, and let me research that later. Doesn't work for me either. So what does the pointer look like? Really quick thing. I have a button, right? Yeah. So you're saying I should do cursor or pointer? And it's misspelled cursor. Yeah, but what effect did it have? It still looks like a upper left pointing. I know I can set it from the browser, but I can set it here too. Oh, I've misspelled it, that's why. So change it to a index finger. Is that what people expect? Yeah, I know. I'll give you another point. You're racking up the points today, Adopted Mouse. Oh, okay. I'll accept that. Thank you very much. I use pointer cursor for buttons. There we go. Easy peasy. I see. Why isn't that not the defaults in... Yeah, why should I have to set that? Is it just that the defaults are old or something? You would think that stuff like that would be just built in. I'll leave the complaining there. It's not points anymore. It's policy consent version. This is this. And let's go to where this is defined, and then we'll add the definition to its sibling. All right, so there's Mutex, protect against multiple access from different threads, which I probably don't need actually, because the only thread that should be doing this is the executor. And oh wait a minute, no, it's because it's read by other threads. Yeah, that's why. And just do that. And are we ready to build? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, why is that not the default of CSS? To make the cursor a pointer for buttons. Oh, really? Well, that's weird. So by default, the cursor is a pointer, but React took it away? Oh, it's trying to be smart. It says, oh, that button doesn't have an action, so you don't need a pointer. All right. Well, we're going to force its hand. All buttons must use pointer, cursor. Done. Long link time. This is because the player's class is used in a lot of other places, I think. Yeah, you can set in the browser. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was old. Sorry about that. I'm responding to an old chat message I already responded to. Yeah, what Romania Hate was referring to is I can hit F12 and I could go here and I can say, I want to go to this style and let's see what it looks like without pointer. No index finger. Turn it back on, index finger. And if I really wanted to, I could say I want the grab pointer, because why not? And now it's a grabby hand. Grabby. You can do that to just play around and test things out before you make changes to your code if you don't already know that. I will just refresh to get rid of the grabby hand. There we go. It was button type button. Is it not? Did I make a mistake there and not have it button type button? Ooh, you're right. Probably have that in a lot of places. I should make them type button, shouldn't I? Yeah. And that's going to be a widespread thing, so I'll need to fix that later. Add. You know, something tells me someone already told me about this, and I have it in my notes from a previous stream, and I just don't remember. Add type equals button to all buttons that don't have a type. Right? Or, you know, and should have it. Yeah, well, I'm a noob as far as web dev goes. I've really only done it for the last 9 months. Before that, I just pretended I knew what I was doing. Now I know that I know a few things, but not everything. Hey, what's happening? Return to dust? How are you doing? Don't think it's necessary, to be honest. That's why I'd actually prefer to look it up instead of just doing it now. You know, adopted mouse is probably right, but I wanna research it to really hammer it in, like why it would be right to do that. And maybe I learned that maybe it's only right in certain contexts, and then I would know better. You never have type button, but yeah. Well, it's everything is flexible, right? We were looking at earlier. Can I put this unordered list inside the paragraph? And it worked, but then people on Stack Overflow were like, you shouldn't do that. Input type equals button. There we go. You just fix it in your CSS, or yeah, you can append the class. When in doubt, fix it in CSS. All right, let's run this test. Yay! Actually, let me run all the tests for the players. Show me all the player tests. Here we go. Run them all. This is one of those reasons why I do test-driven development. Is when I make a mistake, boom, it tells me what my mistake was. Now it's a long explanation, but I'm pretty sure the difference here between the expected and actual values is that I left out policy consent version. So I bet here it'll be missing. Yeah, so it's missing. So I changed the expectation, but I didn't change the code to match the expectation. So let's just cheat and look for that string points and find it in players. right here, and then I can just add the missing code. So it's policy consent version. There we go. Easy peasy. Bruh, input type equals button. Okay, let's run it again. Still not right. What did I do wrong? Oh, hold on. Is it that there's more than one thing wrong? Interesting. There's something else going on. Oh, they're both 0. Okay, I messed up something here. Ah, player 1, not 2. There we go. That would do it. Player 2 should have player 2's consent version, not player 1's. Cool. So we did serialize, we haven't done deserialize yet. And so it's just the reverse of this. That when we deserialize a bunch of players, and we have some versions here, like, I don't know, 2 and like 3 here or something like that. Yeah, I guess we'll do it this way. That we expect that back out. So expect equal 2 for players. Ooh, that's bad. Players get 1 policy consent version, and then didn't I? Yeah, shouldn't I do it this way? For this one? Yep. You're feeling evil, you use nth child to mess with your team. Good for you, return to dust. I do the same thing. Nth child. Let me show you my wickedness. Justify right, the odd nth child. Look at that. The first, second, sixth, and seventh, I do text align right. Pure evilness. And my team is just me, so that means I'm messing with my future Raimu self. Yeah, that past Raimu is a real dick. Using nth child. All right. So this will fail because I didn't do the deserialized code yet. And let's fix that. It's going to be the reverse of that in deserialize. Yeah, I can just do it here, right? Records, yeah, just turn this around, right? Turn your frown upside down. So interpret as a size T serialized record that. Done. Oh, but I put it in the wrong place. I need to do it before I put the record in, install the record. There we go. So you can see it's very much databasey. I just don't have a database yet. If I get a database, this turns more into something more like a SQL thing. Okay, what did I do wrong? Player 2's policy consent version. Oh, I screwed it up. Wait. What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? 2. Oh, because I put 2 there. Yeah. $782. Oh, because it's a 1. I made the mistake twice now today. I just copy paste the code and I don't update the player number. All right. Good. Let's run all the tests to make sure nothing broke. Did you know VS Code is a website? I knew that there was a VS Code embeddable in a website kind of a thing. And yeah, I did know that it's on the Electron platform, so I could hit F12 here. Well, I would do like you just said, right? Developer tools. Developer tools. Yeah. So it's built on Chrome or Electron, which is built on Chrome or Chromium or something like that, right? Yeah, I knew that. So you can debug it in the browser. Yeah, Chromium, right? You know how I learned that? I thought I found a bug in VS Code where a certain Unicode character wasn't displayed correctly, and I filed it with VS Code, and they said, "Oh, we're based on Electron, so go bug the Electron team." So then I opened a bug with the Electron team, and the Electron team said, "Oh, we're based on Chromium, so go bug the Chromium team." So I opened a bug with Chromium, and they said, "Well, we just use this other library for rendering Unicode fonts, so go bug them." And so I bugged them, and they said, we're not going to fix it." Yeah, they're New York. They said something like, well, that's only because of the font you're using on Windows, and we don't want to have to support that, or something like that. I kind of gave up on it. Discord uses Electron, but it has C++ in the client. Oh, it really? I didn't know that. I thought it was just an Electron app like any other. I didn't know they customized Electron. That's kind of cool. I just thought Electron was just like a container for running a web app in a native window or native program, I guess you'd say. Hey there, Crumpet, how are you doing? All my friends are here. All right, so I added this new policy consent version. This is a new player record field that we're going to use to track what version of our privacy policy you've agreed to, and if you've agreed at all to it. And then every time you log in, it's going to check to see if this is the latest. So that means I need to have the latest number somewhere. Okay, and this will feed into what I do next, I think. Let's just place that because we're going to need it in client record. So let's go to client record HTTP and just add it there. It's going to be modeled after the player record field of the same thing. So let me just take that and copy and paste it here. Oh, but I just wanted it to be a flag, right? So that's, whoa. I hit a hotkey for GE Force for some recording thing. Okay, anyway. Let's say, what are we going to call this? Agreed to latest policy. Agreed, actually just say, let's say if it consented. I like the word consented better. Consented to latest policy. Thank you for that follow. Let's say this. I'm just going to write a new paragraph. This indicates whether or not a player connected through this client has sent it to the latest version of the game's terms of service and privacy policy. If false, the game should not allow the player to do anything other than log out or consent to the policies. So we're going to be checking that field in pretty much all commands, I think. Maybe I can do that in the boilerplate as well. I think I will, actually. That way I can cover all commands. It's more powerful if you know what to do. Oh, you mean Electron? Yeah. You have to wave? Yeah, you're obligated to wave. Oh, my light was flickering there. I don't know why. How long have I been working on this project? I have a command for that. My light is acting up. But I forget my own commands. Let's look it up. Where would it be? Probably, how long? Oh, yeah, how long? There we go. Now, stream elements also responds to how long. Stream elements I still keep around because uptime is only served by stream elements because my bot doesn't do uptime. But not for long. I'm going to have my bot handle uptime soon and then bye-bye stream elements. I should probably update that one, the Trello. I have the Trello thing, but I really haven't been keeping up to date. I'm transitioning more to this issues thing now. That's what I've been using for like tracking what I need to do, like this bug that I found. So this is like my latest to-do list, so to speak. So we have 142 things on the list. How do you not follow yourself? I don't know, can you follow yourself? I don't know if that's allowed. I think Twitch would break if I followed myself. It'd be in an endless loop, wouldn't it? Anyway, stupid programmer jokes. Okay, so we have that flag that's added. Donate to yourself. I mean, some people do gift subs to their bots and stuff like that. And no, I just don't feel right doing that. So when you see my bot talk in chat, you'll notice it's a mod, but it's not a sub. Yeah, it just doesn't feel right to, well, also I'd just be giving Twitch money, like, to my own channel, which is sort of weird. You are yourself, so technically you're always... So yeah, I noticed that I'm subbed to myself. I think that's built in. It's kind of weird that you're subbed to yourself, but not following yourself. At least I think that that's weird. All right. Not getting too sidetracked here. Okay, I think what I'll do here is just make it a different login status. So that will be a different test. So where that stuff is in the executor. So let's go to the executor and find the login tests. Actually, let's just run all the executor tests. They should all pass. This will give us a good green baseline. The only reason to give your bot a sub is if it uses the emotes. Yeah, pretty much. I would like to have my bot use my own emotes, but it just doesn't feel right to gift it a sub. If I ever become a partner, partners are allowed a free sub, and I think that is for that very reason, that they can then allow their bots to use their own emotes. There's a lot of login tests. There's banned. No, I actually want the one that's kind of like, yeah, the login with Twitch. But the one where there's no account. Yeah, login with Twitch but no player account. So, similar to this, I think. Well, actually, no, not like this at all. Let's find a normal login. Where's a normal login? This one? Correct hash? No, that's logged in elsewhere. That's different client. Not logged in already. Okay, I guess we can use correct token. That's fine. We can just take this test and duplicate it. My policy on H versus HPP is .h should be valid input to a C compiler, whereas .hpp means it may not be valid for a C compiler, only a C++ compiler. That's the convention I use, but it's mostly just personal preference. A lot of people will just name everything .h, even if a C compiler would throw a fit because it's only for C++, right? I'm pretty sure no one does the reverse. No one makes a header file just for C and names it something other than .h. How long have I been developer? Here's my short TLDR history. And that's also the answer to why the heck I'm doing this in C++, because I've just been coding C++ like forever. Okay, this test framework is huge and enormous. Someday I need to refactor this. Someday, you know, means never, but, you know, I try to stay positive. Where's the last login? Okay, there's the last login test. Let's add it to the end there. When I refactor this, I'll probably take all the login tests and group them together separate from log out, etc. And this is just a fancy way of creating a player entry. And then log in. Right, so what we want to do is bump the version number of the policy, but do that. Let me think about this. I want to do it after this, so it would be here, right? Bookmark. I have the problem that I have this bookmarks plugin, but this Control-Alt-K is also a shortcut for my password manager, and it overrides the one from here. I'll just not use bookmarks. Let's just look for set configuration. Don't do it here? Really? I don't do it. Oh, I do it here. Is that the only place I do it? What is this? And why am I doing that? Oh, that's for some tests that want it. Actually, a good question. If I'm thinking of putting the latest policy version in the game's configuration, but does the executor actually read the configuration? I don't remember. So let's look. Do you read the configuration? Yes, you do. To do what, my friend? To get the log index, sure. Mail queue suspended flag. Okay, so we do use it. So that means I must have some tests that check that. Aha, found it. Interesting. So this is where it's put directly into the file. Is that going to be a problem if I set it directly? Probably not, because it's just calling the same configuration object. Could check it though. Wait a minute. What is that again? Oh, right. It does take the configuration here and pass it to the executor. Okay. Well, my friends, I need to take a quick break to use the restroom. I will be right back and finish this test. I'll be right back. I'm back. Did I miss any chat? Use .h because it's shorter to type than .hpp? Oh, that's fair. You also ask the developers what their rule is. Yeah, my rule is pretty strict because in the past I've had to mix C and C++. And you know what really annoys me is when .h files are made that are not C++ friendly. So for example, where would I find this? In the entity component system. Components CPP, I think. Yeah. Where you include C header files that are not C++ friendly and you have to do that thing. I hate that. So that's that's sort of the flip side of the problem. The other problem would be if someone published a .h file and you couldn't include it from C, it had to be from C++, and then you're really screwed because you basically have to go through and port it to a C header, and if they use any features of the language like classes, then like what are you going to do? I guess you'd write a shim of some kind. It stands for header plus plus. I mean, it's like CPP, HPP. Some people do. Here are the conventions I've seen. Of course, there's .h. I do see HPP. I've also seen HXX, and I've also seen .hh. So like these three usually means C++. Could be C, C++, or both. But hopefully compatible with both. So that's what I've seen. Your experience may vary. There are probably other ones I haven't seen. So it's XX because it's like sort of like a plus on the side. I guess also I've seen this too, but I don't remember when. That might be a problem for some file systems, right? So I think that's why you tilt the plus and make it an X. And I've seen the same thing for the source code. It's just a C instead of an H. That's what I've seen. All right, let's complete this test. I want to do configuration set what? New values. Oh, shoot. I need to see how it's set to begin with. Oh, right, we should get first, change it, and then set. That makes more sense. Auto settings is configuration get, and then we're going to end up setting it back here. Does it take a copy? Takes a const reference. Fine. Okay, so settings. Then I have to invent a new setting version, like latest policy version. And then we'll want to set this also in the main setup. So let me do that really quick. I lost where it was. Here it is. Guess we bet it here. Latest policy version. What are we going to set it to? I need to set it to something that doesn't break other logins. So I guess we'll set it to 0 because that matches the default player, what they've seen, and so that won't screw up any tests that I already have. It's just going to be sort of bogus. In the real world, we'll never have a 0. But it should be fine for this, I think. So down here, we're going to set it to 1, and then set it. And then we try to log in. When we have created the player, it'll be copied from the latest, and now we updated it. It's like they're logging in after the policy is updated. So we should get back a special... We should get back that they're logged in, but then we should expect also a certain status of... I need to look this up. What are the other login statuses? I think it's logged in is what we'd normally get for execution results status as a string. I need to double check. Actually, I can just run the test now, and that's what I should see, right? Because I haven't actually written the code to do anything differently. Oh, you're very, very tired? Oh, good night, Adopted Mouse. Thank you for all your help. I broke something, didn't I? What did I break? Undeclared. Oh, it's because this is I've duplicated the test name. This should be login. Let's say login correct. Well, let's just say login Have not yet consented to latest policy. There we go. Is that like, hey, hey, like bye bye? Bye bye. I know one streamer who has their hey is tilted to the left and their bye is the same thing tilted to the right. Yeah, see ya, Adopted Mouse. Sleep well. Okay, so it's not logged in, it's blank. Okay, I don't remember what the executor does, so let's just cheat and look it up. On log in. What does it return if it's a successful login? Maybe it doesn't return anything. It would be down at the bottom, right? Oh, okay, we don't return anything. Okay, what should I do? Add something new here? Let's just add something new. So it would be instead of status, it would be like let's make it match the client record thing. Consented to latest policy. There we go. And then that we would expect false for that. And then that's interpret that as a Boolean. And then let's take this other test. Actually, let's just take this test and copy it. One where we have consented to the latest, and the other one where we have not. Okay, so this is have consented to latest policy. And so for explicitly setting it to 1 here, actually let's just turn it around. So it would be to do that here. This create player will make sure that it sets the consent. Yep, and we'll have the executor do that. That would make sense to me. And this should be a true. There we go. So this actually will pass right now. No, it won't because it's not in the execution results, so they're both going to fail. Yep. So they will both fail, and then we'll add the code to make them both pass. Oh, the other one passed? Oh, because the false is the default, right. So it passes, but for the wrong reason. Let's make it explicitly fail, so expect true that it has that. So take that and say dot has that. So make it fail now, because it won't have that. All right. I know I have so many tests. That's to make sure I don't break anything. They're called regression tests now. Yeah, we're keeping it family friendly in this stream now. All right, let's not say hi to the trolls. Or bye. We're just pretending they don't exist. It's the best policy, I think. Okay. The best policy. Okay. So we have to put it here. That's for sure. Consented to latest policy, and then we're going to, I guess we'll just make a flag for that, and then we'll have to figure that out. So we're gonna do a comparison, I think. Where to do it? Well, we get the player record somewhere, right? Where do I get the player record? Oh, I forgot about that. It's marked to do because I haven't done it yet. Oh, there's the player record. Okay, there's where I look it up. If they log in with password. Oh, because they might have logged in with Twitch and not have a player account. So we need to check. Yeah, we need to check. So I guess we'll default it to false, and then if they have a player record, then set it to true. Or set it to whatever's in the player record, right? Okay. And this is all, what is this? All within a check, right? Hold on. What if, is there an earlier return? Are we going to have a bot problem today? I don't know. If Playing with Scissors was here, I would ask him to turn on his bot. I guess I can go ask him. Well, hold on a second. Let me check something. I don't know. I think he might be at work. Oh well. I'll just ask him to do it next time. I haven't had ones, well, let's just not talk about it. There are different kinds, let's just leave it at that. And I seem to get different kinds on different weeks. Okay. Right. I was gonna see, like, hey there, Slickbur, how are you doing? How does this work if player ID is 0? Do I have an early return? Oh, yeah, there's an early return. So if we get to this point, then they must have, yeah, they must be a player record. So I can just, yeah, I can just return it directly in there. Player dot consented to latest ball. No, it won't be that. Yeah, let's compute it separately. So const auto that equals. Oh, did I say hi to the epic unknown who's now a lurker? I'll say hi anyway. I don't remember. So this will be if the players dot policy consent version equals whatever's in our configuration. So let's just get a copy of that then. Latest policy version. And then we'll end up comparing it there. And then this will be interpret as a size t game state configuration. Let me make sure I do this properly. Is it get? Yeah, it's like this. Put that in the test, didn't I? Latest policy version. There we go. There we go. And that's the wrong variable. There we go. Cool. Let's see if that makes our test passed. Uh-oh. How come it won't? Okay, it collapsed. I set it to 1. Oh, because the create player doesn't set it. Okay, so that's the other half of this. I should have an explicit test for that. That create player does it. Let's include it in the create player. Where is it? Let's search for it. It's not subscribe or unsubscribe. Here it is. Player creation success. So I'm going to put it on line 900. So I want to do that. And go back to line 900 and Actually, the way I had done this before it was just right. Is that better? There's a lot of checks on configuration. Yeah, I was doing this write it to file so that it would pick it up from. I guess I can do that. Yeah, because we figure that the executor is going to just read it from the file anyway. All right, and then we're going to make sure that when that Alice's policy version will be 1. So expect equal 1. Alice.policy consent version. This will fail. Yay, it failed. Hooray, it failed! On create player. If it creates a player, where is that done? Here it is. It's actually in the command itself. So the executor doesn't actually need to do anything. Okay, take it back then. It's the coordinator's job. Because there might be a race, right? You might have consented to a version and then split second later between when you consent and when it's created, I might update the policy. And so the executor should record what version you agreed to and then check again, right? Oh, wait a minute. That would mean I would need an extra step on create. I really don't want that. Let's just, yeah, we'll leave it out of the record. We'll overwrite it. So this would just be overwriting it with whatever is currently in the configuration. Game state configuration get latest policy version. There we go. All right. Cool. That's the executor making sure that you agree, and then we need to have a message when they agree. Oh, also the new login status. So there's 2 things I need to do. This flag that it returns. Lost my place, but this one, where? This flag, we need to check in the coordinator, and if it is false, we need to do a different login status. In fact, we need to put it into the client record, so that's the coordinator's job. Go to coordinator, auth player, and log in. Yeah, one of these. Yeah, so let's modify this. Actually, this is doing what? Login without resetting message receiver, which is a helper, which does start login, which does what? Which does the login with username and password. And then finish login. I think this is the key point, right? So it does, it fills in the command and pretends that it's published with just that. So I need to change that. Let's find where that's done. Back here. I don't do it anywhere here? Really? Okay, well, we'll need to. Did I do it here? How about JWT correct signature? I don't see it. Oh, maybe this one. Yeah. Aha. Whoa. Interesting. Okay, I feel like I'm gonna need to write one of these logins from scratch. I really don't want to though. I'd really rather just pick a different one that's close. Like, yeah, something like this, but then add to it from the other test that where it actually succeeds. I could put it here. We're gonna call it login not yet consented to latest policy. So it means I need to set it. And this set of tests has its own common setup where we need to set a configuration. Where is that setup? Here it is. And here's the configuration right here. So let's add it. All this test configuration. So this is latest policy version. And just so it doesn't break any other tests, we'll make it 0 to match all the other things that the tests are doing. And then for this test, though, we'll need to override it with 1. So is it get and then set? Yeah, something like this. Back here, right here. Where would I do that? Here, I guess. And this is latest policy version, and set it to 1. And they actually need to have an account in the game. Where do I do that? Add test user, there we go. So the test user just creates a record for Alex, and everything is the defaults, so including the policy version will be 0 on that guy. Then we set the latest to 1, and we'll expect back. If they otherwise logged in correctly, we'll get we want a login status of what do we want? I get to pick whatever I want here. Need consent. Need policy consent. Yep. Okay. So there's stuff missing here, right? It's whatever these other tests are doing. So this sends it. It's what this finish login does. So I need to do this, but in a slightly different way. Do I want to make a helper that does it, or just, I think I just, actually, do I need to do anything special here? Maybe I don't. No, I do. I need to have it, right. Include an extra key here is what I need. Oh, if it's just one lane that's different, maybe I should modify this and make an optional another parameter. Let's finish login. Let's see, what do I have optional parameters already? I do not. Okay. I call it from there. Journal index is just the number of entries so far. Okay. Yeah, so here's sort of, yeah. Maybe that's what I want. I want that really. Here, right? Because that does that. And actually, what the heck? Hold on. And yeah, normally I'd just do that. So I would do the same thing here. Okay. What is this doing? Oh, that was CAPTCHA stuff, wasn't it? So I probably don't need that. Yeah, I probably don't. I just need to follow it up with this. Right. Which is what I'm already doing if I don't have all that other code. So it's just that. And then let me make another parameter here, like optional. Yeah, this will be the additional flag, right? So it will be false, and let's make the default to be true. So bool, whatever the executor named it. How come I'm not seeing? Oh, because I'm in the wrong place. On login, right? And scroll to the bottom. This one equals true, right? And then we'll add this here, and we'll include that down here. Cool. I like it. Hey there, Toulouse. How are you doing? Okay. So this will fail this test now, but it should not break any other test. That's the whole point. But we'll see. I just realized something. I don't have anything here to drink if I need to. I have a little bit of water in this cup. Only a little bit, though. Only a little bit of water left. And I think this is reasonably new water, not old water. I'm going to run out of something to drink real soon. 1 to 2 sips, that's right. And then ooh, that's sort of old water. That's probably been sitting there a few days. Ugh. Ew, old water. Yeah, maybe a little dusty. Vacuum seal. I have one. I should get that out, shouldn't I, and start using that. The same one Ski Dog uses. In fact, I used his affiliate link to buy it. All right. This broke predictably. We break things predictably here on this stream. I'm not saying we don't break them unpredictably as well, but at least when we want to break things, we do. Or they get broken when we want them to break. Okay, so that's the only one that breaks because it is, oh, that's the wrong message. Already logged in, it shouldn't do that. Wait, why are we getting logged in and then already, did I do it twice? Oh, I did it twice. Why did I do that? Tried to log in twice. So run that again. It should be, yeah, that it's logged in correctly. And also that when you're logged in, you're also given what your inventory is, which happens to be empty in this case. Anyway, we shouldn't get logged in. We should get need policy consent instead. All right, so that is implemented in auth.cpp. I'm pretty sure. And that would be on log in executed. Yes, is this one. So we should just get that flag out, really. The same one the executor puts in, consented. And that's Boolean. And then we would announce that they're logged in, sure. In fact, would we put them into the game? I think we would. They would appear in-game. And they might actually be killed. If they happen to pop up next to a monster. I think I'll do this at first, but it might be nice to have them, like, have a 2-stage login where you're logged in, but your character isn't moved into the, like, materialize in the world until you are ready. We'll just start off with, like, bringing them into the world, but then popping up into the dialog box. And if they get hit by a monster, then tough luck. Actually, what happens if they're in the dialogue to consent and then A monster hits them and they get killed. Won't that pop up? It'll override the dialogue with the death dialogue, won't it? Okay, we should have it not pop them into the world. Where is that done? I think the executor actually does that. Let me make a note to do this. Actually, that means I need another command, don't I? Or the login will have to be like reattempted. I think I should just do another command for it and let the executor handle it. So let's put that. Because I don't know if I'll get to it. How much time do I have? I might get to it. Maybe just put it into the plan then. Make a command, execute a command. When actually that should just be part of here, right? Execute a command when player consents. Which when, well, we don't have to say which. Execute a command when player consents. That should be another clause. Which completes the login. Until then, they would just not, their character would not appear in the world, and they wouldn't be able to interact. And then this would complete it. So I'll have to move a lot of the code that does that process into a subroutine that is called from two places. One where you already consented before and you don't need this extra routine, and then another one where you do need it because it's been updated. Make it even funnier. Yeah, we don't want, even though it's funny, we don't want it to happen, because what could happen is you log in, it says, oh, the privacy policy has changed. And meanwhile, some orc is just wailing on you, and you're hearing it. And you're like, I need to read this terms of service really quick. But then, oh, sorry, you're dead. And then it would just replace the dialogue with, you are dead. And then you could respawn, and then now you're playing and you haven't consented to the privacy policy. That would be funny, but probably legally questionable, right? So we'll let you log in, but your character won't be activated in game until you consent. I think that's what we'll do. And then I guess if you don't consent, you would just log out. Add a ghost in the game. Hilarious but undesirable. Yeah, exactly. Shouldn't these be complete sentences with periods at the end? Just realized that. All right. So what does that mean for me right now? That the executor test will have to be changed again, and we'll have to add a new command. But let's do one thing at a time. I was in the middle of updating the on player logged in, right? Or on logged in executed. Right. Where do we return the message to the client that they're logged in? Is that here? Nope. I think it's here. Unsuccessful client login. I think that's this one. Yep, that's where it is. So it's not. Actually, we can get it from that record, can't we? Yeah, I can put it right here. I can say client.second.consented equals bool results with the same name as that. And then inside here, we can use that flag. So that's if they're not a player. That's if they're already logged in. We hang up, and then, yeah, here it is right here, right? So I suppose it's just this, but with an alternative. So it would be a client.consented. Let's do it. There's no need to do all this indenting. I could just do it this way. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong place. Shoot. It should go here. It's either logged in or whatever the test required. Need policy consent. There we go. I think that reads okay. That is now conditional on consented to latest policy. If so, you're logged in. Otherwise, you need policy consent. There we go. Done. All right. Nope, didn't work. Because it otherwise is a normal login, and I didn't handle that correctly. The test is wrong. It needs more data. It needs to look like a successful login. So where was login success? Here it was. Oh, and this looked at the first message. So I guess we'll do the same thing. This one. Right here. It'll be need policy consent. Otherwise, everything else is correct, right? Token. Do I need that? Actually, I don't really care. Yeah, I think that's all we need to check, right? Yep. The logged in is Alex, but we need policy consent. Yep. Okay, go. What did I get wrong now? Player ID. Why did it expect 0? Oh, the other test did that. Shoot, that's my bad. Login success. What did it expect? Test user ID. Got it. I'll get it right one of these days. Yay, okay. Make sure I didn't break anything else. I did break something else. Probably the test that does a complete check of what the results has is missing that extra flag, right? Yep. Yeah, so this is saying we expected this and we got this, which includes the need policy. Why is that actually that status though? Oh, is it because the default of the command is that it's false? Oh no, it's because of this actually, isn't it? It's gonna actually look at that result for it, so it needs to be included there. I'm sure I've done this before in this test framework. Let me find it. Error PogChamp, error band. That's sort of what I want actually. What is this? Okay, yeah. So what is the only thing this test really cares about is this one. It doesn't need anything else, right? Yeah, I wasn't looking at it before, so it just needs this. It just needs that now. There we go. And make sure that's what it needed. Oh, what? Lost my place. Still wrong. What's different? Wait a minute. Why is it still that? I set it to true. That's true. What's going on? Hold on. Let me debug this. Oh, wait a minute. No. It should set it. It should have set it. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I didn't. Oh, that's for set password executed. I forgot there's 3 ways you could log in. So I need to update all of them. This needs to be done in other places too. On set password executed. And we need to do the same thing here. Here. Right. Right here. I did the same thing on login executed, right? Oh, wait a minute. Why did I do that? I already had the variable up here. Okay, and then it's also going to fail on creating a player. Right? Hold on, let me think about this. Yes, resetting your password we should also require it. Actually, that means I need to go back in the executor and do it there too. But creating a player is different. All right, so let's just try this again. Yeah, I need policy consent because it also is simulating it right here. Okay. 509 needs a copy of that. 509. I think my cat's snoring. This weird noise that I hear. I think it's him snoring. There we go. User be like, what just happened? All right, why did this one break? Same thing? Probably the very bottom. Yep. So like this is true or something. There we go. All right, before I forget, let me go back to the executor, and it needs to require the same kind of business for like set password. So where's the set password stuff? Yeah. Is it? Why do I have it called change password? Oh, because they're logged in. Yeah, I need a login with a reset password correct token or something. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we're gonna put it underneath here. Reset password. Have not yet consented the latest policy. So I need the same kind of setup, but with the consent number not up to date. Yep. So this part the same. Hold on. Let me take the whole test should be start out the whole test should be almost the same. So all of this almost the same, and then what's different is we want this part here where we've changed the policy version. So mobilize, create the player, log out, and then right here, change the policy version. Then somehow they get a password reset token, and this is like when they do the forgot my password thing. And then they come in with the token, and they will, here's where we're going to change what we expect. We should get this for this down here. Actually, both of these lines right there. And then for the normal case, it should be true. So that should be true. There we go. I did it. I did it, chat. So this will fail because the set password command doesn't do the check like it should. Oh, this is the wrong set of tests. And I gotta wait for it to run now. Run, 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 and done. I meant to run these tests. The large dictionary, the large dictionary of executor tests. I did it. I did it. Anybody seen that Dora movie? I have not, but my daughter did, and she's like, man, that's an awful movie. They went to see it because it was a joke. for them, teenagers, to go see it, a movie that was like for kids. But yeah, I heard it was terrible. But that was one of the jokes. Is like, Dora always says we did it, and that I'm like, I'm sure that was in the movie. And she's like, yes, it was. It was awful. We did it. Okay, so it's failed. It's hopefully it's failing on that line that I added. Yeah, this line, 1073, and this one for the same reason, 1135. Yeah. Okay. So back to the executor we go, and yeah, we just need to take this. I need this code here really over on set password there. If there is a token, so this part here. Interesting. Where is the return mess? Oh, so it doesn't actually return anything, really. We need to return something now. Let's then make this one return nothing. And we'll move this return into here where it belongs, so it goes here. They either consented or they didn't, and really the only thing we care about is what? Consented to latest policy? I'm surprised that we don't need to know the player ID. Interesting. I'll have to look and see why. Anyway, that latest policy version is pulled from there. Did I not copy that line? I did not. There it goes. All right. Interesting that didn't return anything, even though the other one required it. I wonder if that's a mistake. What's this? What's wrong with this now? Actually, true should be false? Because the number is not right? The number is 1. Yeah, so why is that? Let's see. I probably put the breakpoint here and just debug that. Why is that set to 1? How did that get set to 1? Who set that to 1? Eek! Where is that set? On create player, I understand that, but that's when we deserialize. Why? How is it getting set to 1 anywhere else? Oh, did I create it after? Let's see. No, I created it first, then set it to 1. What's going on? Let me double check. Is it getting to there here? It is 1. Oh, wait a minute. How did we get there? How is it? Oh, we didn't execute it until down here. I'm dumb. Okay, so I can't change it until after we've executed it. There we go. Hey there, Frost Ice Cold. How are you doing? Not magic. It's that we set things up, and it's not until we do the publish commit event that the executor actually takes action. And so even though we had already put it in the queue, so to speak, we hadn't committed it yet, and I changed the policy version and then committed it, so that then it actually executed the create and the logout at the same time with the newest policy version. So now it will execute it and then change the policy version from 0 to 1, and then try to log in with the reset token, and it'll say, okay, you're logged in, but you haven't consented to the version 1 yet. All right. Fixed. And then I wanted to double check something. So it bothers me that this will only, where is it shown there? I don't need that anymore. On set password, like only needs to return that, but then on login returns a bunch more stuff. Where is that? Well, on login is actually very complicated. Yeah, returns player ID, Twitch ID. Diag, I don't think that's only internally, but this ought to be needed for set password. I'm wondering why it's not. I guess I can look and see what does the coordinator actually use with that information. Twitch ID. What do we do with that Twitch ID? Right, we store it into the client information. I wonder if this is just a bug that we don't do this on set password executed. Oh yeah, this is the old code. So it goes back to the original command to figure out the player, and I bet it's not storing the Twitch information. Yeah, I mean, it's only storing that now. So we'll see that if I search for that string. Yeah, see this, all this stuff is set when you normal login, but when you reset your password, it's not set. It's getting this from the command though, and not the results. Is that a bug too? Why would it be getting it from the, why would I even need to include it in the results then? That's never used. Yeah, I'm not even using it. I'm pulling it from the command. This might be dead code actually. Player ID is used though, because we use that for the subscription system. I think we also use it to look them up later. Yeah. Because this looks them up again. Right here. Okay, so I guess this is dead code. This we needed because they might have logged in through Twitch. I think that's the reason why I had to add that. So it might not have been in the original command because we didn't know who they are, but then the executor figures it out, right? Then where do I use this? Maybe I don't even use these in the client record. I guess I could search for that. Is that even used, or is that dead also? Let's just include CPP files, see where we use it. And what are these? Are these commands? I can skip the command ones. All right, there's where, okay, we have something called set client Twitch ID. Yeah, fries ice cold. Okay, what we set it, do we ever actually use it? Oh, this is the login stuff. Yeah, fine. All that is fine, but what do we do with it? Okay, we do it. No, that's in the player record, not the client record. I'm wondering if it's just dead code. You know, the way I would test it is just delete it and see what breaks. Okay, there's this. Maybe this is it. Oh, I remember why I'm using it. Did I put that in the comment? Not exactly. This should really say if the user of this client has authenticated as a Twitch user, but maybe not a player yet, then their user identifier is stored here. Or maybe I should say if the user of this client has authenticated via Twitch. That would be more correct, right? Because then this could still be 0 and this could be non-zero. But if you logged in with this, we don't need that, right? Because it's only used here to disconnect you if they're both 0. Yeah, I remember this. So then these are probably dead because I probably never use those. I don't know, let's test it. What if I just comment that out? What breaks? If I don't need it, I'm just going to remove it. Why have dead code, right? It's going to break there because it's set. Fine, we'll comment that out, right? And then continue. It's cleared there, sure, when we log out. Okay, it's sent back to the client? Is that why? Register check. Hold on, what is this? Oh, wait. I think I know why. Right, I remember why. If you log in with Twitch and you don't have a player account, you have to come up with the username. And then when you do, it goes through this bit of code here. Because Twitch ID is not 0, it'll go through this. That's why it's there. But do I actually use that on the other end? Is that the only place? Yeah, in the tests. Oh, yep. Okay, so that was the only place besides the test was right. Shift F8 should work, and it's not. I had to hit forward Shift 8. Oh, I'm getting a phone call. I need to take a quick break to answer the phone. Hold on. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I forgot that I have a meeting at 1:30 today. So that means I got to cut the stream a little bit short, but I got some time still. Another 45 minutes or so, roughly. So I wanted to see why I needed this Twitch login. It's in the message, so that means I'll find it somewhere else with quotes. And it won't be in there or there or there. Or, well, would it be here? What is this used for? Oh, maybe it's used? I don't know, let's see. Okay, it's set in here. Shoot, I don't know if it's used. It's put into the command. So that means what? The executor or the coordinator might need it again? So what? Well, if I comment that out, it's going to break too many things. Let me go back to searching that again and look for other hits in like here. That's not the right one. Oh, do I use it here to figure out which path to take in login? I guess so. No, this is a different place. This is if there's a login stored in their character credentials or the character component. Okay. Yeah, where do I use this? To put into there, but then we figured out that that is only used for the next, that is not actually probably needed. Yeah, maybe I put it in a thinking I needed it, but I don't really. Or is it eventually stored by the executor? That's probably what it is. I bet the executor actually does use it later. Not there, but here? Here. Twitch login. No, this pulls it from the player. Wait a minute. If... No, no. Okay, it is... Well, let me think. Oh, this is look up Twitch user. Never mind. This is the wrong place. Yeah, all of this code is because like your name you could change your name and then connect to the game later and have a different name but the same ID. Yeah, all of that's similar stuff. Is this it right here? To store it in the player record. Yeah, that's why. Okay, and I've convinced myself I need it. And I'm not... Oh, are those the only places I commented it out in? No, also in the header file as well, right? Where was that? Player... No, client record? Here. There we go. Hey there, Batcraft. How are you doing? I'm adding more datas to your connection state when you log into my game. So there's now a terms of service and a privacy policy. And when you first sign up, you'll have to say that you read and accept them. But then after you do that, if I change my privacy policy, I kind of want it to be where when you log in and I changed it, I want it to pop up saying it's changed since you last were here. You know, here's your opportunity to know and click here if you're okay with that and consent to the latest policy, yada, yada. And so that means I have to track the last version that you saw. So that's what I've been adding. So in the database, so to speak, there's now a policy consent version. If it's 0, you haven't consented yet. And then if it's non-zero, it'll be whatever version number you consented to. So we're working on the mechanics for that right now. So back here, let's run these again. I changed something in here, didn't I? It was the set onset. Oh, right. I remember now why. I was trying to figure out why this didn't have Twitch information in it. And the reason is because there's no way you could be logging in with Twitch through this API. It's password reset, so you had to have gotten sent in a new password. Okay, so we're good. Both logging in through a password normally or Twitch or resetting your password will challenge you to, well, basically it'll say you haven't consented to the latest policy, and then it'll be up to the front end to do something about it. So that means we're down to 2 pieces here. That means we don't need this. No, we did need this. Right. So the only way that your agreed to latest policy version will get set is if we have a special command that is when the player consents. And then that will complete the login. And before that, we don't want to permit certain things. Like basically don't even log people in. So I guess we'll do that. We'll do the executor changes first, where on login. Actually, it's common, so it's that subroutine that it calls way down here. Way down here. On player logged in, I think. Yeah, where it like updates your components in the entity component system to place you back into the world and all that. This we don't want to run until you've consented to the privacy policy. Otherwise, you might appear in game and get killed while you're still reading the terms of service, which would be, like we said earlier, be hilarious but undesired. Yeah, we're not going to create a camera. We're not going to um, set up all this. Yeah, so we want to make the calling this on player logged in conditional. How many? I should only be calling this from 3 places. Let me make sure. Yeah, there's only 3 places that we call it. Looks like I also have something in the ECS itself. Unfortunately named the same thing, but that doesn't matter. Right, so this one is what? Normal login? That's the big one, so it must be normal login. And this one is creating the player initially. So this one we don't need to touch because by executing the create player, you've consented. That's what this one right here is all about. It won't let you do it until you click that, and then that does the create player. So by that point, we know you've consented to the latest. It's these other 2 we need to check. In fact, you know what I can do? I'm doing the check here. I can say only if this is true do we call that. That would do it, wouldn't it? But first, let's do a test for that. There should be a test already to make sure that like your stuff is made when you log in. Let me find that. I guess I can just scan. Actually, this is a nice way to do it. You just collapse everything and then look. Just scanning with my eyeballs, log in. What would be the biggest problem? That you're moved into the world, so we don't want to move you into the world if you haven't consented to the privacy policy, right? Where is that check done? I don't see it. Oh, here we go. Character in non-default zone moved on move to default zone. Here we go. Move to non-default zone on login when in non-default zone previously. So that's we'll just take this test and duplicate it. That's an enormously long name because there are many conditions. It could be that you're in the default zone. It could be that you're in the non-default zone. So yeah. Right, so this expectation is that your zone number changes from 0 to 42 when you log in. So we'll make this where you haven't consented to the privacy policy. So we'll say character not moved on login when not yet consented to policy. And so it's set up the same way otherwise, right? Except for we need to record that the policy number changed. Latest policy version. This stuff. We want to do it inline, so this one right here. So that would be after mobilize, but before login, we would change the policy version from 0 to 1. And then we execute the login command. This should remain at 0. That's what I expect. And that's going to fail right now, so we need to fix that. Run. Cool. All right, and it should not break anything else, or that's just a test. I didn't change anything in the code, so nothing else should fail. Correct. Okay. So, back in on login. Way down here when we do the on player logged in. So let's do this check up here first. Right here. And then we'll make this conditional. If consented to latest policy, then execute what happens when you log in. Otherwise, it's like you're semi-logged in, you're authenticated, and your information is updated, but you won't have a camera, you won't be in the right zone, and the coordinator will make sure that you're not allowed to move. That's probably how I'll want to handle it. Correct. All right. And we're going to want to do the same thing for set password as well. Cool. And let's just run them all. I'll want to do the same thing for set password. So let me find where that's done. Set. I might not have a test for this actually. Colon set password space. So we have a test here for that. What is it checking? It's checking everything about the player record, but not the character component. Right, and that's, we haven't, actually this would be a nice place to check it, really. Okay, actually here's a better one. These are all like, you give the wrong code or something. Actually, can I just search for, where was it? Zone. Can I just search for that within this file? Right. But these are all normal logins, not set password. I guess I don't have a test specifically for this, that you appear in the world correctly when you reset your password. Okay, maybe I should add one? Yeah, maybe. Okay, so where's the new one I added? I've now lost my place. It would be latest policy version. Search for that, right? Well, it's the same setup, right? Well, no, not exactly the same setup. It's a combination of two tests. Right, so it's kind of like this one, only instead of login through a login command, it'll be login through password reset. So where would we want to put that? Maybe right here. This is a good place. Character not moved on password reset when not yet consented to policy. Okay, so we create the character and all that, change the policy number, and then this will change. Instead of this, let me put a marker here. We'll want to do the same thing that we do for set password. This one right here. And that, okay, I need that this extra line in there, don't I? Actually, all of these lines. 1042. So I need. Oh, this is done differently. I guess we would do it this way. No. Sort of, but I need this line here. Okay, so I need some of these lines. And I don't need the create player. I need that. So mobilize. Set up a journal entry to, actually, that's the player ID. To set the password reset token. Actually, why am I doing all this? Can't I just shortcut it and just say player.that equals that? And then, yeah, I don't need this stuff. There we go. So we create them with a password reset token already. And then we're going to want to do a password reset. This stuff. I'll do a password reset with... Okay, I need to define journal entry. That's this line. Sorry I'm jumping back and forth so quick. We can put it down here. There we go. So we construct a set password command that has to have the same reset token. Why don't I just not copy it and just do that? Actually, can't I just do that here too? Wouldn't that make sense? And then this is all unnecessary, but I'll do it anyway. Oh, we didn't set up. Oh no, we did. Previous zone 42. Now currently in the logged out zone. Make sure we stay in the logged out zone, which means I have to change all that stuff when I get rid of the logged out zone. This will fail now, right? Yep, it fails because we got moved. Even though we haven't agreed to the privacy policy. Shame on us. Okay, so on set password, if there is a token, right? So it's this stuff here, moves up, and then if only if we've consented do we do that. So then the last piece would be to have a special command that, when executed, just does that. Essentially. And we should only allow them to do it once. In fact, we should have the executor just make sure that they haven't yet consented, and then mark that they've consented, and then do that. Right? Yeah. In fact, we won't need to do this. It will be in the client record. Right, because this will have been given back to the coordinator, which puts it into the client record. So the client it'll be in the client record. We'll know that. Yes. So the coordinator will know whether or not it should do the command, and the executor will do it to complete the login, and then the coordinator will then set the flag saying that they have consented. Now they can play. Okay, cool. I've convinced myself that I'm doing the right thing. It's always nice to convince yourself that you're doing the right thing. Remember, the team is just me. I got to convince the whole team. All right, and I didn't break the coordinator part, did I? Hopefully I did not. It takes longer to run because there's like more password hashing tests that it does. All right. So I haven't done the front end stuff at all, but let's pretend I did. And the front end will pop up a dialog box saying, you need to read the latest terms and policy. And the player says, okay, fine. I click the box, I hit the button to say I consent. We'll receive a message, and that message will come into the coordinator. So that's where I'm going to go first. That should be handled by, I guess, the authentication system again. So the same place, only a new command. So we can go all the way down to the bottom and just make a new thing. And we're going to call it policy consent. And just the mere reception of that message from the client will be like, yes, we agree to your terms of service. So you better not send this message unless you do. So we'll arrange, how do I want to arrange this? What do we want it to do? I need to arrange it where they're logged in, but they haven't consented yet. So where's a example of that? Maybe log in. I guess we just need to arrange it the same way as if consent, where this is false. Yeah, this stuff right here. This will be the arrangement, sort of. At test user, change the policy. Actually, I don't need to do that, really. Don't really need to do that, do I? I really don't even need to do this either. I can just start them out logged in. How has that worked? How does that work? Server ID equals, yeah, this stuff, right? No. Oh, maybe I don't have a test that does this. I guess I don't. I should have it somewhere else, like here. No? I would expect that I did that, but maybe not. Oh, I just always do a login? Oh, Must be a reason I did that. Maybe the only reason is because I was lazy. Because this login does like hash code checking, and really, we don't really care about that. We just need to mark that they're logged in. Let me try to do this the correct way then. So instead of doing the start finish login, we'll just pretend that they're already logged in. So that's actually in this test user stuff, right? It would be we get the record, okay, and then we set that they're logged. Actually, an easy thing to do would be to look for players login. And if I do that in any test, I'll just, oh, here we go. I've done it here before. Great. Cool. This is exactly what I want. Right here. They log in to, okay, we want the same number, server number. That's important because otherwise it just gets forwarded to the what it thinks the actual leader is. What are all these other numbers though? I think it's Twitch ID and stuff. We get token, login time, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that means they're logged in, but we want to kind of hack in that they haven't consented to the policy yet. Actually, that's what it'll already be, right? When we do this add connection, that flag will be default. Where is it set? Oh, wait a minute. I think this is why it was a problem before. This doesn't actually set the client record up correctly, does it? Right, because we don't care. We don't actually have a client connection for the player. I think that's why I did the actually executing login commands, because that's how we set the client record up. Hey there, Rita. What's cooking? We're adding a field to the state of the server to track whether or not you have, where is it? Down here at the bottom. Whether or not you have consented to the latest terms of service and privacy policy of the game, and if you have not, like the default is, the game won't let you actually play until you click the box. And we have it on create a new account, but I don't have it for like, you already have an account and you're logging in and the policy has changed. We want to present the user a dialog saying, we've changed our terms of service, please read it again. Or maybe we give you a difference to make it easier. And then also give you a link too. And then only when you've like consented, and then like set this to true and then allow you to play. So that's what we're doing today. Although I'm probably not going to finish because I got to stop in like 15 minutes. Oh God, yes? I hope that's a yes. Please let players know when the policy changes, because I think that's the right thing to do. Why is it with ToS upgrades that just displaying a diff is not standard practice? I think it's nice to show a difference for people who want to see it, but I think legally you're always obligated to say anything might have changed, you should reread the whole thing. And when you click the box, you're saying that you agree to everything. Full text with different things marked. I guess I support that already with the way I store this stuff is in the GitHub. So, for example, do I have a change already in the... And where would I see that? Code? And I would look at like privacy policy MD. And like this is the full text, right? But then you can see the history. Did I make a change to it? Yeah, so if you wanted to, you could look at it this way and see, well, this is actually what changed in our privacy policy between the different versions. But it's mostly geared towards programmers, right? This is a very programmer-oriented way of showing a diff. But we could do that, right? Because it's for free. I could just link literally to this URL, which shows the difference between that commit and its parent, and say, that's what's changed. No one does it, though. But I could do it with this, right? I could say, hey, the last time you read the terms of service, it was this commit. Now we're on this commit. Here's the difference. Using GitHub's difference thing, right? So I'll have to think about it. I think I want to do that because that's just nice to do. But yeah, minimum, we should at least say that it's changed. Here's the link again. And kind of ask for consent again. Yes, so the problem is I can't just mark that they're logged in because that doesn't update the client record. And the client record is currently hidden within the coordinator. Where actually is it? Let me see. Maybe I made maybe I made a hack for testing to get to it directly and not have to simulate the whole process of workflow. That would be in coordinator.hpp if it was anywhere. Let's see. It doesn't look like it's here. So here's where the marker. Everything here is testing, right? I can get the client's connections, but it's const. We're not supposed to modify them. I think what I'll end up doing initially, or eventually, to make my test run faster, is I'll make a backdoor hack to mark that a certain client is logged in, and then skip the login process. But for now, I don't have that. I'll just do what I normally do, which is log in this thing right here. It's just that, okay, we have to do what the other test did, start login, stop login. So that was policy version, whatever, I can't remember now. Latest policy version, that's it. Latest policy version, right, this thing, where we do a start finish with a false flag, meaning, yeah, actually that's what I already had. So that's this part then. That's the arrangement. We add a test user, we bump up the version of the policy, we start the cluster, we have a client connect, we simulate the whole process of logging in, but then we say they have not consented to the privacy policy. And then the act will be that they will send a message saying that they consent. So that's sending a message looks like this. And here I get to arrange what I want the message to look like. I think we'll just keep it simple. Policy, consent, and leave it at that. And then what we expect to see will be that, yeah, there should be a message back, but we should also see that the consented is now true. Expect true for that. And then, yeah, we'll get a message back and it'll be of type, yeah, let's just reuse login status. So it'll be, instead of need policy consent, it'll be logged in. Yeah, let's just keep it like that. So that's it. That is it. Oh wait, wait a minute. We can't expect that until, yeah, I need to break this up into two pieces. It needs to be forwarded to the executor, which needs to make the change, and then when it comes back, we do that. Okay, so this isn't quite right. Policy consent given, I guess, and then the next one will be that it's executed. Policy consent recorded. There we go. Hey there, HMAC. I think things are going well. How are you? I like your name because it reminds me of the work I did on HMAC, which you can see in my hash functions repository. I implemented HMAC. It is the hash-based message authentication codes. And it looks like this, sort of. Is this the right place? No. Where's the core one? Ah, here's the core one. You take your block and you run it through the hash function, and then you get an OPAD and an iPad, and then you hash it again, and that's your HMAC. There you go. Yeah, I implemented it, but it's not optimized. And it's basically just, I mean, you can leverage a lot of what's already on Wikipedia. Wikipedia HMAC. Because check it out, they've done it for you. They have the pseudocode. Here it is. They've done most of the work for you. All you need to do is port this into C or C++ and you're done. And that's exactly what I did. See the OPAD and iPad? I just ported that into my repository as C++. Now, understanding how it works, you technically don't need to understand it. You just need to port that code and use the test vectors you can find online. Understanding it is a little bit more complicated, and I would say I have a little bit of an understanding of it. I know that we're taking a message and digesting it through a hash function in a way that makes it very difficult to reverse, but that's all I really know. PBKDF2? Yeah, that's in there too. Did you see that while I was opening that up? Yeah, I did PBKDF2. That one's kind of fun too, because there's this inner function which puts a serial number at the end, and the PRF, the pseudo random function, ends up just being a hash function, and you do it in a loop. There's your big loop, and that's what makes it really hard to crack, because hopefully you make the loop counter like on the order of 10,000 or more. And to write something so core you like but you dislike. Yeah. So I would say it's for most people it's foolish to do because it's already been done, and if you just need something that already does it, just find it out there, open source. It's probably lots of implementations, right? But for me, I did it because I enjoyed doing it. It helped me understand more of the algorithm than I would have if I had just taken it from a library. And as a side effect, I did it on stream, so I showed people how to do it. So there's some educational value maybe. In fact, if you wanted to see me do it, you can go back into my log. We can find where I did that. I did that. Let's say it's around here somewhere. I want to find it now. It was like 21st century. Here we go. It's 21st century hash functions. Yeah, so I did SHA-2, which is SHA-256 and 512, and I did HMAC. On October the 22nd of last year, stream number 67. Seems like it was just yesterday. It's a good idea if you need to learn or want to learn from it, but if you just need to do a job and someone's paying you to do something that needs an HMAC, I would just grab it from a library. And you could use my library. It's open source. No, not BSD. MIT license. So that's pretty much the only thing better is if it was public domain, but at least want to put a disclaimer on it. All right. I need to split this up. This part needs to basically not assert that, but that that a command is put onto the journal. So similar to one of these other things, yeah, like this. Oh, where's a simpler one I can steal from? Like login or something. Where's login? I'll find it. It'll just take me like a minute. How come I'm not seeing it? There's set. Oh, here we go. Start login using it. This is exactly what I want. Yeah. So this thing. I want that down here. Only. Okay. I forgot to grab that variable. That's this right here. So basically, we record however many entries are in the journal. We do the message, and then we expect there to be one more journal entry. We get a reference to it, and we make sure that its type is policy consent. And then that needs to be a new command that we haven't invented yet. But I don't think it really needs to have much in it. Right? It can just be an empty command. Because the client is already connected, we can find them again. So we really just need to record the player ID in there. So that would be just this one. That the test user ID is a policy consent command's player ID. HMAC is, it's always a good idea unless you do it wrong and your software's broken. So that is a good point. If you're doing something that requires security, like what I'm doing, don't try to write the encryption yourself. So what I recommend is using something like OpenSSL or LibreSSL, which is what I used. And don't mess around with cryptography. Unless you're really, really smart and already know cryptography really well, I would recommend you use something that's battle hardened, that gets tested a lot and all the time, like something like that. So yeah, I did not do the encryption, and also I didn't do compression either. I probably could have done compression, but it just would have taken me a huge diversion from what I was doing at the time, which was doing a web server. I'm like, I'll just use zlib. If I had a lot of extra time, I might be interested in doing the crypto stuff myself, but I would never use it commercially because I just would always worry that I have a bug, an encryption bug that would just someone would use to exploit it and break the security, and then it would be terrible. Okay, this command doesn't exist yet. We're gonna make it, but in the meantime, this is the part where we're gonna pretend it was executed. So in this case, I don't really need this, do I? Actually, I don't really need this either. I don't really need to mess with that, do I? Oh, yeah, because the executor tells us no. Yeah, so I don't need this stuff. Right, I don't need that. And I don't need it here either. The executor worries about the latest number. The coordinator just has a flag whether it's set or to true or false. So I guess we should check that here. We should get the connection and make sure it's still false here. So let's expect that it's false. And we do that stuff. Oh, looks like I'm out of time. Oh, and the doggy's barking because people are here. I don't know if I'm going to finish this right now because I have like literally 2 minutes left. But I'll see if I can set up the test and then I'll finish this tomorrow. So this just makes sure we've put the command into the journal, and this is where we, instead of doing this stuff, we need to pretend that it's in the journal and then it's executed. So I would be copying from login success, something like this. Yeah, where the no, that's not exactly right. I need to do like where we do a login where it's simulated. Where do I not do that anywhere here? Really? Seriously? Oh, here's one. No, that's a cast. I need to find one where we create. I guess I'm just going to do a standard make shared. Yeah, we can just steal from here. That's fine. So here will be, we arrange that happened, and then the act will be this. And it's going to be one of these policy consent commands where that is set, and then we basically simulate that it's done. The way we do that is we with the mock journal, we publish that it's new entry, that it's committed, and then we actually do what the executor would do, which is what the stuff that the coordinator would care about, which is just to publish that it was done. And I need that number. Should be something like that, right? We publish that entry number, there's the entry, and then I don't think we need to actually have any response. We just need the pretend mock executor to say, hey, yeah, we just did that command. And then the response should be that gets set to true, and this gets sent back. I think that's right. Okay, so I need to invent that command. I guess I can do that as the last thing I do right now, or do I have enough time? I don't know if I have enough time. I don't think I have enough time. So I'll probably have to leave it here. So I need to invent that. Each command in my server has its own header file. So for example, the login looks like this. And it basically just carries all the information the executor would need. So like a simpler one would be like gift points. Here's the sender. Did it come as a whisper? Here's their ID and name and stuff. Here's the number of points to transfer, whether or not it's a grant or a gift. The difference is, are we taking points from the sender or are we just inventing them? And then it has any kind of command for the raft consensus algorithm has to be encoded to be sent over the wire, and we need to be able to figure out what its type is so that we can know how to decode it. And the implementations are ridiculously simple. I just don't have enough time to do it right now. but it would look like, where's the equivalent gift points? Here it is. It's just the constructor that takes a JSON value, does the decoding, and then there's an encode, and the get type just returns us a constant string. So I'll have to make one for policy consent, and the only thing it needs to carry is the player ID. And then I just integrate that into the game, and then I will change the coordinator to do this, and then the last piece of the puzzle would be the executor. When it gets this command, it needs to implement it by updating the player record. This field here needs to be updated to the latest version. And that's all we need to do. And then it would be on to front-end work. So this will all be what I do tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be creating that command in the game and making the coordinator construct that command, and on execution return that to the, set that flag, return that to the player, and then have the executor turn that command into updating this variable. And then I need to work on the front end. So we need to add the dialog box that shows that it's been updated since you last read it, and then you have to click a box, and then when you hit submit on that form in the front end, it's going to go to basically do what this test says. It will send this message to the server, and then we expect that when we get back a logged in, that we're good to go. And we show the dialog box in the first place if the consent is missing, and that is this need policy consent login status. So we'll have to handle that. If on login we get that as a status, we'll need to show the dialog box and send this policy consent back when you click the checkbox. Oh, the other thing the executor needs to do is it has to, this thing we held off from doing, that once you've consented, you have to do that. This function is the one that puts your character in the world. So it checks all of the entities. It checks all the components for your player entity and makes sure you're in the world. And if you're not, it puts you in the world and stuff like that. And we hold, like we said earlier, we hold off from doing that because if we didn't, it would be quite hilarious if your character popped into the world and then the monster starts to beat on you and you can't do anything because there's a pop-up that says, you have to agree to our terms of service. And then it would get even more funny when the monster kills you and then the checkbox disappears and instead it says, you are dead, would you like to respawn? But it would be a problem because then you would not have the opportunity anymore to read the terms of service because we've already moved on. So we'll fix that all tomorrow. I missed some chat. We were just talking about the HMAC and bcrypt. Right. I don't know about bcrypt and limitations. I don't know much about encryption other than the very basics of public-private key encryption and the symmetric stuff like the basic ciphers. You XOR something with a mask and then you XOR it again with the same mask and you get your original message. That's like the limit of my knowledge about encryption. I hope you enjoyed the stream today. We'll be back tomorrow. I think my schedule down there in the panel is up to date. So like for me, it's 10 a.m. For you, it's whatever it says down there. Hey there, Cthulhu. Guess what? I'm on my way out. I'm sorry, but I got to go to a meeting, so I'm ending about 40 minutes early. My apologies, Cthulhu. Just looking to see who we can raid now. Cthulhu, who, as compensation prize, who would you rather watch if I wasn't streaming? Would you like to see Zeratar or maybe Irish John or Robert Tables or Spherus, Makings of a Hero? Who do we want to raid? How about Makings of a Hero? I haven't raided her in a long time. She's working on a game. It is a MOBA. What is that? A massive online battle royale. Something like that. Hey there, Programmer D. You've been lurking. Thank you for the lurk. I'll wave to you. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, so we're gonna go say hi to Makings of a Hero. She's making a multiplayer battle royale in Unity. The title says "Fixing the Code Right Now" today. So I'm going to set it up. I hope to see you guys again tomorrow. I'm hitting the button. Here we go. Hit the button. All right. So, hope you have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. Bye.